Right, good morning, boys. So ask the last of those boys to please have a seat. Also just like to welcome the Year 10 boys who are over in the STEM Centre to our assembly this morning. And we've got a number of items on the agenda this morning, boys, so I might just get you to stand, please, for the school song.
As we come together this morning and gather as a St Brendan's community, we do so acknowledging the Darumbal people, the traditional owners of the land in which we gather this morning. In doing so, we extend that welcome to all Indigenous peoples present. This week, we acknowledged Catholic Education Week, and in doing so, we acknowledge the theme for 2023, which is forming lives of faith, hope and love in the light of Christ. And as we look towards the future with the excitement and anticipation of what's to come and the journey ahead, we do so with trust in God who walks with us and guides our way. Yesterday in this space, as we gather this morning, we celebrated our Catholic Education Week Combined Schools Mass. And on the Capricorn Coast, the history of Catholic education dates all the way back to 1917. In the St Brendan's context, Bishop Dewick acquired the property in Yeppoon as the site for a boarding school with the dream of, and I quote, gathering the sturdy station children and sons of cattlemen and sheepmen from the great grand heart of the West to be familiarised with Catholic faith and practice in proper surroundings. In February 1940, St Brendan's College was officially opened with 42 boarders and 15 local students. Throughout the history of the college, the college has met the educational needs of young men from and throughout central Queensland, particularly supporting rural families off the land from small rural townships. For many years, there was also a deep connection with Papua New Guinea, with many students attending St Brendan's for their education. The central Queensland mining boom brought students from Central Highlands, and the growth of the Capricorn Coast also saw an increase in the day student population. Fulfilling its mission, the college also committed itself to the education of Indigenous youth with a significant Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander student population, which continues today. Over many years, the college has worked to develop structures and to support the culture within the community and be a model of reconciliation in action. As we continue to grow, the college remains committed to educating young men from throughout central Queensland and beyond, always looking to the future for opportunities to grow. Today, St Brendan's College has the best part of 1,000 students and continues to provide a holistic, liberating and inclusive education to all those who seek it. I invite you now to make the sign of the cross in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. In the words of St. Francis, we pray. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is error, truth. And where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. And where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. St. Brendan, Our Lady of Perpetual Help, and we live Jesus in our hearts, and we conclude in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. I now call forward Mr. Corboy for the Principal's address.
Thanks, Mr. Pearce. Good morning, everyone. Okay, there's a few things I'd like to go through today. I'll get you the first slide. Okay, I want to take a moment to talk about Catholic Education Mass, then the musical. There's a Mass coming up at the end of August that I'll mention, and also the Academic Assembly. So first of all, the Catholic Education Mass was yesterday. So we had St Ursula's here, we had Benny's, and we also had Sacred Heart. And I want to thank the 10s and 11s and 12s who attended that Mass. I'd have to say the singing in that Mass and the participation in the responses was probably one of the best I've had in my 6 years. Yet in saying that, when it came to communion, that was anything but poor. The behaviour and the noise and the talk was basically disrespectful. This is a sacred space when it comes to our masses. And I tell you, we know better as a college. Granted, there were boys talking in the primary schools and the kids from there, and also the girls from St Ursula's, so there was talk. But we judge ourselves on our standards, not other people's standards. So I was really, really disappointed in the way that people took that opportunity at communion to start talking. If it wasn't for our guests here, I would have stopped the Mass, told you to shut up and be respectful. So it was one of those situations yesterday where, as I said, it was probably the best engagement in the singing and also the responses, yet let down by the behaviour at communion. The next time we're going to have a Mass is when the brothers, and we're going to be farewelling the brothers at a quite significant occasion. So we'll make sure we get that one right. Then yesterday, we then went on to the gym in the hall to watch the netball. And well done to those boys who represented the college. And for people who were there, it was a great situation where we had a friendly game between St Ursula's and ourselves, and they beat us by 2 points, and congratulations to St Ursula's. It was a great game to watch. But we missed an opportunity. I honestly believe this is a good school. And there are times where we are a great school. That mention about communion, we're a poor school. But yesterday, the game finished. They won by 2 points, and there was just silence. And there was such an opportunity where we as a school could have taken the moment to put our hands together to congratulate those girls on their win and to congratulate the boys in their participation. It was an opportunity. Nobody's fault, but it was an opportunity where we could have showed ourselves as being a great school. And the reason being, I was actually standing next to Mrs. Morley, and she reminded me, or she said that she remembers playing this very game when she was at St Ursula's. And she said it was like it was yesterday. It was memorable, and it was such a special moment that she cherishes. And those girls, they were excited, they won, they got the photo, but I think if we had the opportunity again to give them a round of applause would have made it that more special for those individuals. So there are just times where, you know, if we have the presence of mind, we can actually show our respect to what we see and make it important. And we do it well now and then. I remember going up last week up to the OD7, and we had the Year 12s about to go into that Elevate education about the study skills. And I was talking to Mr. Reddy, and he mentioned the Year 11 general who were in there in period 2, listening to Alana, who was the presenter. And at the end of it, the boys did the 3 cheers for Alana. Incredible. Here somebody is coming to the college to talk about study skills. Not the most exciting, but was there to support you in your studies, to get the best out of you. And the boys in that time, in that moment, appreciated that and gave her what is something is really special at St Brendan's, where they go, what do we think of? And I'd imagine, without talking to Alana, she would have left that school, our school, last week, and would have been so impressed with the place, because I'd imagine she wouldn't get that in many schools. So we can be great and we can be poor. We need to ensure that we judge ourselves on the standards that we expect. So it was disappointment, missed opportunity. Then I got this email yesterday. Could you do the next slide, please? This is an email from our grounds and maintenance. We're noticing an increase in damage to the college. We're talking about the hall, the doors, we're talking about classroom chairs, we're talking about exit signs in dorms, we're talking about fire extinguishers in buses. So I went from disappointment to anger. That is disgraceful. There are so many people here trying to provide this place and provide a school that we are proud of, to give you every opportunity to succeed. That is disgraceful. That is straight out vandalism. That is straight out disrespect. If that's you, you're not welcome here. Absolutely not welcome. You end up in my office around that, you're not going to get much joy from me. Your enrolment is right on the line to whether you're going to be part of this school. And it's a rub for me, because I just came back from Darwin and Katherine, and I was meeting boys who are busting to get here. One boy said that he sat in class Googling St Brendan's, looking at our Facebook, wanting to be part of this place. And he's on a waiting list, as were the other 3. And Dad's pleading, as an old boy, can his son come to school to be part of St Brendan's in 2024? And the reality is, we're full. They are on a waiting list. The chances are they might not get in. But I am not going to allow somebody to sit here and do that and have those people sitting out wanting to be in your situation. If you want to tear down what we stand for and give the finger to what we're trying to provide for you, and that's how I see it, you're not welcome. The bus can't run legally if it hasn't got an operating fire extinguisher. It takes a bus off the road. God forbid if there's ever an accident. That fire extinguisher is there, hopefully never to be used. But when it is needed, whether it be an accident with the bus or coming across an accident where somebody else's life is in jeopardy, that fire extinguisher can be the difference between life and death. There is no excuse where people are tampering with that. In the boarding house, we're about to spend something like $60,000 on air conditioning for Fitzpatrick. I am not going to accept people mucking around with exit signs. We're not going to accept the damage in the gym to the toilets. That is not who we are. I am talking to a small group of people that shouldn't be at this college. As a student body, you have a responsibility like us not to accept that. If you know people are doing that, you let us know who they are. That is not St Brendan's. The money that costs, those chairs are worth $60 plus just on those standard chairs that you sit on. Up to $100 for those high chairs with the backs. Why? Because we want to make sure that we give you the best experience. You're sitting for 5 classes a day. There are cheap chairs we can get, but we get the best chairs that we can for you. You damage them, don't be here. Not welcome. So I hope you get the message, because that makes me really angry. And you don't want to be in my office around one of those things. Trust me. So, we can do better. We do better on occasions. And remember, I'm only talking to a few people, but we all have that collective responsibility around stuff like this. In regards to the applause for the netball, it would have probably only taken about 6, maybe 8 boys start the applause, and then it would have been a recognition from others that would have joined in. It was just a missed opportunity. In regards to the singing, thank you. That's the standard we expect. Remember, when it comes to communion, you keep your mouth shut and be respectful for the sacred space this is in, regardless what everybody else is doing. You are responsible for yourself. Okay. Change of pace. All right, can I just get the musical up, please? Okay. So, last couple of weeks we've had the musical. I was talking to Brother Steve and he made a comment to me. He said the musical doesn't have a scoreboard. It's a communicative exercise between what's happening on stage and the audience. And it's the applause and the attendance of people turning up to appreciate what they see, and the applause throughout the musical and at the end is their scoreboard. So huge thank you to those people who supported the musical, who created the applause for what was happening on stage. So an absolute sincere thank you for that, because they deserve every applause. That was absolutely outstanding. So here we have a group of people who have spent months and months practicing to be able to put on a performance which was outstanding. We had Brother Steve, and I think I was talking to Mr. Cooper as we were driving to Catherine, and he was saying how for over the holidays and the weekends he'd see Brother Steve down in the sheds making those sets. And we've got volunteers and our staff getting the costumes together. We've got the band rehearsals, we've got the practices, we had the Sundays and so on. What an outstanding success. What a great achievement. Great school. So can I have those boys and staff who are involved in the musical to please stand up with a sense of pride? Could you stand up? Gentlemen, if we ever owe somebody a decent set of applause, these are the people. So could you put your hands together for everybody involved in it? Thanks very much. So congratulations, boys. That was outstanding. All right, moving on, we've got the next part is the farewell to the brothers. That's, well, my apologies. Just go back to the first slide. Thanks. Go back. Okay, just a quick one. In regards to the brothers, as you heard Mr. Pearce this morning saying the school's starting in 1940, on the 29th of August, we'll be having a mass to celebrate the 84 years of the brothers present here at the college, which will conclude at the end of this year. It's momentous in occasion. Here we've had a dedicated group of men who have been part of this college all the way up through to this year. And sadly, they'll conclude their presence here at the college at the end of the year. And this is a celebration. So we're going to have old boys here. We're going to have ex-headmasters. We're going to have ex-heads of boarding. We're going to have old boys. We're going to have you as students. We're going to have staff here with the bishop celebrating Mass. As we always say, we stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before, and those brothers are the shoulders that we are standing on. We enjoy their work for those last 84 years. So it's going to be a special occasion. There's going to be more to that in the coming days and weeks as we move forward to the 29th. Okay, next fortnight we'll be having our academic assembly. I just want to show you, if I could get that whole slide up. For those who haven't, who are new to the college, we've had this running deal or bet, if you want to call it, over the last few years to encourage people to engage in their academic studies. And the deal was that if they get over 40% of the school population, that the college would do something special. And for the last couple of years, we've achieved, well, there's a little bit of an issue on one of them. If they've hit that 40%, that we would do the end of year celebration. There was one year where in actual fact I think it was like 39%, but I went on leave and Mr. Horan reversed that decision for whatever reason, and you got your last day's entertainment. So next week that column will be filled, so you need to get over 40%, so 41, which is actually about 383 students. So on our next assembly, we'll have that filled out. The boys will be recognised for their awards, and then we'll do the data and see if that's going to come through and see whether we're going to have that activity on the last day of school. So watch that space. So thank you very much, everybody.
Boys, I'm here this morning to talk to you about some things that can hopefully help you for your academic achievement this term, okay? Term 3, like all terms at St Brennan's College, is a very, very busy term, all right? But with the commencement of the Rockhampton Schoolboys Rugby League, we know how busy it gets, okay? So this morning is all about, I suppose, planting the seed for you to think about getting organised and prepared for this term. All right. I had the pleasure last week of walking around to year level meetings and I saw Mr. Prince with the Year 8 boys and they were there getting their planners out and getting organised, which was great. And I went to the Year 7s and they went in to do exactly the same thing. Okay, so that's a really positive first step. On Wednesday last week, I actually sent every student in the school an email, all right? And in that email were some resources for you that you could potentially use to help you to get organised. Okay, so Josh, could you just go to the next slide, please? The first document I sent you was this very plain Word document, and I call it a Term 3 assessment calendar. Okay, now I know people have different versions of how you get organised, but for me, I like something very simple like that I can fill in or print out and write on. Okay, and record any key things that you have coming up. The purpose of you getting that document there is so that you can go onto your student cafe and you can look up every single piece of assessment that you have this term. Josh, can you go to the next one, please? So what I've done there is I've done a little bit of a mock example of what you might see. Okay, and if you look at that in week 7, this tsunami of work comes at you, all right? And if you don't start early in your preparation for this sort of workload, then you can find it pretty hard to stay afloat, and it can become overwhelming. So I really encourage every single student at this school to get organised and develop an academic planner where you have all of your assessment pieces recorded, all the key dates. Last week, like Mr. Corboy alluded to, we had Elevate Education come to the school. They are an organisation who specialise in supporting people to achieve their best, not just in their learning, but also to have a great time while they're at school. One of the key tips that they talked about with everything in learning is the use of colour. Right, you can see on there, now I'm not saying you need to try and memorise your assessment dates like that, but you can see there, if you look at, for example, history conferencing on the 25th of August, it's in red. Okay, then on the 4th of September, it's again there in red. So I've used that colour to try and identify that subject, all right? It helps you to remember what's there, okay? It grabs your attention. The next one, the tip I'd put there is to print and display. I have a calendar that looks exactly like that, and it sits right beside my computer screen, okay, on my pin board. I encourage every single student to have something like this that sits at your study location. So where do you do your homework? Where do you do your extra learning and assignment work? Put something up like this so that you're aware of what's coming, so that you can prioritise what do you need to do before something else. Okay, the next tip I've got there is start early, boys. We are now there at the 26th of July, Wednesday of week 3. Now, if I think about my experience as a teacher and giving feedback on assignments, the number one thing I would say that I've probably given as feedback is you need to make sure you do your best effort on conferencing. If you hand in a half-baked assignment at conferencing, well, your teacher is not really going to be able to provide any feedback that's going to really move you forward in comparison to what you could really achieve. If you give your very best effort on conferencing, boys, then that feedback is going to help move you forward. Okay, so starting early is going to be key. You can't just get to Monday, week 7 and go, gee, here it comes. We've got to start now. Okay? The other thing that Elevate Education talked about, and it's real, guys, is sometimes your motivation with your learning and achievement can wane, all right? And that's real. But what's been shown to be the number one and most simple and effective thing that you can possibly do is write a goal. Okay, so if you've got an academic or assessment calendar that looks like that at home, then why don't you have a think about one or two of those subjects where you actually want to just do that little bit better, where you know you can do a little bit better. And actually maybe put down there a mark, maybe it's you're going to try and go from a C+ to a B-, whatever that is. But writing a goal and putting it up and displaying it is a really effective strategy. And Alana from Elevate Education rammed that home last week when she spoke to all the boys. Okay. The next document I sent through to you with that email, thanks Josh, was this one, a weekly home learning and activity schedule. All right, looked like that. Again, it's a Word document. You can fill into it if you want to in colour electronically, or alternatively, you could just print that out and write on it. Okay. Josh, if you go to that next one. So that's one that I went through with the Year 11s, I think it was at the beginning of term 2. All right, so that was a mock one that I made up for them. And the first tip that Alana gave with planners last week, she said, put the fun stuff in first. All right, your non-negotiables, the things that you want to do, the things that you enjoy, whether it's your sport, fishing, doing stuff with your mates, We're certainly not the fun police. We're not saying you can't do that. We're saying put it in there first, all right? But around it, that's where you want to chunk in those little blocks of study, all right? You'll note that 25 to 30 minutes, we talk about this idea of what's called the Pomodoro effect, and it's basically this idea that if you use a timer, it comes from a timer that looked like a tomato. Pomodoro in Italian means tomato, okay? And this person had a timer that looked like a tomato, all right? It was a little winder, turned it, and the timer went for 25 minutes. So this is how the Pomodoro technique in studying, how that name came about. But the idea, guys, is 25 to 30 minutes. Have a task that you're going to try and get done, all right? And if you get that task done before 25 to 30 minutes, well, great. Stop, have a break, do something. Alana talked about raising your heart rate, all right? Don't sit on the couch and get your phone out. Actually do something, all right? Go for a walk, get a drink, enjoy the little break and get back to it, okay? Half-hour blocks are good because, you know, if I said to you, you're going to sit down and you're going to do 2 hours of study, well, gee, that's a pretty bitter pill to swallow. But if I said, hey, you're going to sit down and do 25 minutes of work, then, you know, that's digestible, okay? So short blocks in around your fun stuff. The next tip from Alana was space practice, and that's the idea of, you know, not leaving everything to the last minute. Now, on that planner up there, you might see on Friday, I said, I don't know if you can see it, but school and assessment, you can see there, I think it's maths on the Friday, general maths exam. All right, so you can see that's in green, and then all those little study blocks in green are for maths. This would be an example of something that I'd expect to see for a Year 11 student. All right, there's roughly, you know, 2 to 3 hours of homework there and study in preparation for an exam leading into an exam on a Friday. You can also see in blue, I've got English conferencing due there on a Friday. Okay, and you can see how that work's been staggered out across the week. So spacing it out, blocking it out. Practice questions is the last tip there for exams. Lots of people think, I'm going to do some study, I'm going to read over my notes, and I might get my highlighter out and highlight some notes. All right, that's passive learning, where it's just coming in, you're not actually using your understanding or your knowledge. Practice questions, boys. If you've got an exam coming up, practice questions are your best form of study. Okay? Now, Alana used an example of someone that she knows who works at Elevate Education that did 80 practice exams. All right? Now, they got an ATAR of 99.95. Okay? We're certainly not going to ask you to do 80 practice exams, but the idea is that that's where the best learning will come from. So those 2 documents have been sent to your email. All right, you are able to print those out, edit them, do whatever you like with them to help you to get organised and get planned. Okay? If we can just go to the next slide, please, Josh. Like Mr. Corboy was talking about before, you know, the opportunities that we get here at St Brennan's are immense, and this here to me is a really, really good indication of that. Every single day, Monday to Thursday, you know, C1, there's a all subjects tutorial there, from Monday to Thursday, 3 to 4 p.m. Okay, you don't have to go from 3 to 4 p.m. You could go for 20 minutes. All right? It's free, guys. Everything that's on there is offered to you to help you to do your very best, and it's from the generosity of the staff at the school. Okay, so if there's something that you know you need a little bit of help with, and that's really normal, okay, in our learning journeys, we're all on a different journey, but if you know you need a little bit extra help, then that's your number 1 ticket. Of all different strategies or techniques that I've talked about or anyone's going to talk about for you to help your learning, the number 1 best thing you can do is a one-on-one tutorial. All right, that is fact. So getting along to tutorials where you get to spend some time with your teacher in a one-on-one situation, spend some quality time with them and talk and clarify things, that's your best option. All right, so if you can find time to get to that, then I encourage you to do so. Elevate talked about this idea of trying to make learning as fun as possible. all right? And, forming study groups, which sometimes can be a little bit hard, but take a mate along to a tutorial. Tutorials aren't a class where you've got to sit there and be perfectly silent. You can talk and have some fun and talk through things together. Take a mate and enjoy the time that's there. I was actually went up to football last week, and I was going home on Tuesday night, I think it was, and I heard some noise out of J3. There was a bit of laughter, a bit of carry on, and I went up there and there was a group of boys working on their maths. All right, and it was a really great environment to walk into and see guys sitting there working together. Clay Dendel and Daniel Reese, I can see you sitting there beside each other now, but they were doing exactly the same thing, okay? Working together, talking through their maths and having some fun. All right, so take a mate along to a tutorial. Really good option there. So look, those documents, that's all in the email that I've sent you. All right, I encourage you, if you want to go back and have a look at it, go back to your email, open it up, and those documents are there for you to print. They're there for you to digitally annotate and put your own spin on. Okay, I appreciate that not everybody likes to work with that sort of format, but find something that you're going to use, because being prepared and being organised is your best ticket, guys. All right, it's a real privilege that we get to come to school here, but it's a responsibility then for us to make the most of these opportunities. All right. The last thing I'm going to do is there's a little video, okay, that I'm going to play. It goes for about 5 minutes. There's a list of 13 different study techniques that come up in this video. As they roll through, I want you to have a little think about which one of these might be suitable for you or which ones apply to you, okay? And perhaps maybe something that you can take on board. So we'll watch this video and see what you think.
Our brain can potentially memorize 2.5 petabytes of information, which is roughly the equivalent of 3 million hours of YouTube videos. In order to use some of that staggering capacity a little more effectively when you learn, here are some tips that are based on widely accepted research by neuroscientists and learning experts. Spaced repetition. To maximize your learning, study short but often. Neuroscientists proved that synapses, the million billion connectors in your brain that make you remember and understand stuff, grow mainly at night when you were asleep. This means that it is more productive to study regularly with sleeping breaks in between. Try it. Practice something for 15 minutes every day and you'll be surprised by your progress within just weeks. Find your own style. While listening to the history teacher, Tom scribbles images and Jane finishes 1 kilo of nuts. Some enjoy watching videos over reading books, others study with friends, and some like sitting in silence among a million books. Everybody is different. Good night's sleep. Sleep and dreams are vital to processing and storing new information. A Harvard study showed that students who had a good night's sleep remembered their study materials 35% better than those who studied in the morning to take a test in the evening. Focus. If you tend to procrastinate, which means that you tend to switch from doing something hard like studying maths to something easy like browsing the web, protect yourself from distraction. One way of doing this is to shut down your mobile phone or go to a quiet place like a library. Pomodoro technique. Set a timer to 25 minutes when you focus entirely on your studies. When the timer rings, relax for 5 minutes. If you want to continue, just set the timer again. The small breaks in between are relaxing and motivating to keep going. Hard stuff first. Do the things that are difficult first, because if you are like most people, you have the strongest willpower in the morning. Once you are done with the hard stuff, you will feel better for the rest of the day and probably more motivated to get other things done. Exercise, meditate, and converse. There are few activities proven to grow your brain. However, physical exercise, regular meditation, and good conversations apparently do exactly that. They lead to the creation of new neurons inside your brain and therefore grow its potential. go places. You can create deeper memories of a subject by learning in a richer environment that offers more visual clues. In an experiment, 2 groups of students had to remember random words in the classroom while studying. The other didn't. The group that studied in 2 different rooms, one was small and windowless, the other big and bright, was 40% more likely to recall the words later. Take fun seriously. Whatever it is, find a fun way to practice. Modern learning science believes that positive emotions are very important for increasing your learning potential. So do yourself a favor and have a good time. Space your studies. In order to remember things for a longer time, repeat the material in spaced intervals. Facts or vocabularies, for example, are best learned if you review them the first time 1 to 2 days after the initial study, and then again after 1 week and after 1 month. 30% read, 70% recite. If you have 1 hour to learn to recite a poem or prepare for a speech, spend 20 minutes of the time on studying the text and 40 minutes on practicing to recite. This ratio usually leads to the best results. In the case of an emergency, put a glass of water next to you. Take a sip whenever you lose it. Instant self-test. After you study, finish up with a quick quiz. Immediate recall in the form of a test or a short summary on what you've just learned can increase retention by as much as 30%. Because it's much harder for your brain to reflect than to read, that extra effort creates deeper traces in your memory. Don't force it. Motivation is like hunger. You cannot force yourself to be motivated, just like you can't tell someone else to be hungry. So if you are not hungry right now, don't worry. Take a break and do something else.
Certainly a fairly comprehensive video, and I hope there's something there for everybody. Fellas, please, if you want to go back and look at some of those documents, they're on your email, all right, those organisational documents. I encourage you to do so, all right, because, as I said, the term, we're in week 3 now, and to achieve the best we possibly can, it's important that we get organised and get started, okay? Best luck with the rest of the term. Certainly look forward to recognising the academic award winners at our next assembly. And I'd like to call forward, please, Mr McCluskey for the sports report.
Good morning, staff and students. Today I bring another Around the Grounds report in an effort to keep you updated on the comings and goings of sport at St Brendan's College. Our under-15s Dolphins Challenge team travelled to Bundaberg yesterday to take on Bundaberg State High in their last pool game of the competition. The boys put in a good performance to defeat Bundy High 30 points to 0 and finish their pool games undefeated. Our Dolphins Challenge and first 13 teams will now head into the semi-finals where the 15s will play Emmaus College and our first will take on TCC with games to be held at Brown Park on Tuesday the 8th of August. Congratulations to both teams and their respective coaching staff for their season so far, and best of luck in your upcoming semi-finals. Congratulations must also go to our junior AFL team who were crowned CQ champions after defeating Chanel College from Gladstone in the Central Queensland final on Monday. It was a difficult game for both sides to get into as they were met with cold, wet conditions which made skill execution quite difficult. However, once the boys adjusted, they were able to get their hands on the ball with some clean possession and capitalised on the scoreboard. Once the final siren went, the boys celebrated with a 28-7 victory. Congratulations to coaches Mr McElhone, Mr Watkins and trainer Mrs Jones. The team will now travel to Harrop Park, Mackay to take part in the North Queensland finals on the 16th of August. Could we give those teams a round of applause, please? Now on to some student achievements. Congratulations to Nicholas Crawford, Narassi Jimmy, and LeBron Bartlett, who were recently selected in the under-15 regional rugby team after a successful carnival representing the Capricornia region at the State Schoolboys Rugby Union Championships in Cairns. The boys will now be preparing to play in the Emerging Reds Cup to be held at Ballymore in September. Well done. Yep, round of applause. Yep. Can I also congratulate Steele Howard, Harry Robig, Ashton Watkins and Killian Finnell, who were also members of that Capricornia team. In the sport of surf lifesaving, we recently had 3 students, Henry McGilvray, Oren McGilvray and Charlie Kidd, compete in the Queensland Pool Rescue Championships, which were also held in Cairns. Charlie, a member of the Emu Park Surf Lifesaving Club, joined with Yeppoon Surf Club members Henry and Oram in representing Central Queensland. Over the course of the weekend, they came up against the best in the state and came away from the championships with some amazing individual and team results. Congratulations, boys. Okay, and just to finish with some other key information. The Rockhampton District Athletics Trials have been moved to next Monday, the 31st of July, and Tuesday, the 1st of August, due to the recent wet weather and poor track conditions. Please check the sports notice board before the end of the week for an updated program and lists of students who are required on each day. This information will also be emailed to you and your parents for your reference. Please check your student emails. It's your responsibility to ensure that you are organised and are aware of which day you are required to compete. Some other key dates for you to be aware of include Wednesday the 9th of August, which will be our Term 2 basketball, soccer and athletics photos. Wednesday the 16th of August for our rugby league and all schools touch photos also. All students in these various teams will be required to bring their playing shorts, socks and boots or shoes. Playing shirts or jerseys will be provided on the day. These dates will also be published on student notices, the college app and emailed home for your reference. Can I please now invite Mrs. Broad to the stage for a hospitality report? Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Miss Broad and I teach Cert 2 Tourism for Year 11 and 12 students. You may have seen me in Eddie's Cafe if you're a big fan of milkshakes and iced chocolates. Today you're going to have the opportunity to win one of 3 milkshake vouchers, so pay attention to my presentation and it might be you. Okay. The Gateway to Industry School program is a strategy for the Department of Youth, Justice, Employment, Small Business and Training that allows Queenslanders to have the skills and opportunities to participate and do well in the workforce. Students participating in the program are exposed to a range of learning experiences to assist them in their career choices and pathways to employment. Each project is led by industry organisations which develop and carry out school engagement activities in line with their industry. This year, St Brendan's College was again invited to offer Year 11 and 12 students studying tourism and/or hospitality the opportunity to participate in an all-expenses paid 3-day 5-star hotel work experience scholarship program at the RACV Royal Pines Resort on the Gold Coast. This scholarship program opportunity is open to students from Gateway member schools only, which St Brendan's is a member. This program is known as the LIVET program, which stands for Live in Vocational Education Training. 2 students were chosen that have shown they have a personal stake in pursuing a career in the hospitality and/or tourism industry and would benefit in their career from this experience. These 2 students were Riley Arles in Year 11 and Kieran Weaver in Year 12. Riley and Kieran were awarded the scholarship experience thanks to the Gateway Industry Program for Tourism and Hospitality. The Royal Pines Resort LIVET program is designed to provide secondary school students with the practical experience while working in a real hospitality environment. The aims of LIVET program are to prepare students for the demands and expectations of the working world, help students make informed career decisions by assessing their aptitudes and interests while exploring potential careers, improve students' maturity, confidence, and self-reliance, provide students with appropriate knowledge, skills, and attitudes concerning both paid and unpaid work, and also provide an opportunity to extend the theoretical learning of the classroom into practical application in the workplace. So after a long delay at the airport, we were finally on our way and we travelled to Brisbane in style. Now, the transfer to the Gold Coast from Brisbane was an interesting one. Go near it and it'd bite your finger off. Trust me, I know. As a part of the program, Riley and Kieran experienced the best of the Gold Coast in 5-star luxury. They enjoyed stunning views of the Gold Coast skyline from the 5-star accommodation. Every day they had the opportunity to burn off some of the many delicious meals we had. Royal Pines is home to a luxurious accommodation, options, authentic culinary experiences, and a championship golf course. The focus of the program is to expose students to work in a variety of hospitality-related job roles by completing work rotations in 4 operational work areas. Some of the areas the students were able to work and gain experience were practicing the barista skills in the Panorama Lounge Cafe, assisting guests with the concierge, helping in the day spa, working amongst the guests in the golf clubhouse and golf course, learning the reservation systems and operations, applying many different skills in the various kitchens, whether it be in the main kitchen, the cold larder kitchen, pastry kitchen, or the Italian restaurant, preferably without trying to chop your finger off, right, Riley? To be fair, those chef's knives are very sharp. Working with the crew in logistics such as coordinating and incoming deliveries. Organising functions with the crew in banquet operations. Now, Kieran, I'm sure you stopped counting those plates at around 500, maybe around there. Assisting the engineering staff with many issues throughout the hotel and managing the countless uniforms and laundry items in the housekeeping area. On completion of the Live It program, Riley and Kieran have received, along with many memories, new friends, and there was a total of 10 students from rural and regional Queensland, valuable experiences, and a certificate of participation for their efforts. This certificate recognises the competencies of work effectively with others, use hospitality skills effectively, interact with customers, participate in safe work practices, use hygienic practices for food safety, and prepare and serve non-alcoholic beverages. Attending this program as a supervisor, I spent a lot of time with Kieran and Riley, and every time I was there snapping their photos, having dinner with them in the Italian restaurant, hiding from them in the pool, or dodging them in the gym, I can honestly say these gentlemen did this college and myself very proud. Their behaviour and professionalism was outstanding, so thank you. So Riley and Kieran, could you please come up to the stage to receive your certificate? Mr. Corboy, would you like to come and hand out the certificates, please? Thank you very much. Well done, gentlemen. Okay, so let's see who's been paying attention. Thank you, sir. All right, question 1. Now, I'm going to call out the question, and please put your hand up. And Riley or Kieran, you can choose one of the gentlemen if you like. Question 1, what is the name of the 5-star resort Riley and Kieran attended on the Gold Coast? Okay, question 2. What injury did Riley come home with working in the kitchen? right, last one. How many plates did I think Kieran stopped counting at? All right. Thank you, everyone. Please give Riley and Kieran another round of applause. Okay, I'd like to call Mr. Pearce to the stadium, please. Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, I realise the bell has gone. I'm just going to ask you to sit up. We've just got a couple more minutes. We'll just push through. I'd just like to take this opportunity to firstly acknowledge and identify the 4 boys for 2023 who made their sacraments of initiation at the church last Sunday before last, 16th of July. So if you're not aware, we do run a sacramental program here at the college. So 4 boys at the college decided this year that that might be something that they'd like to initiate in. We had some conversations and we ran a program, an 8-week program at school, and that culminated with that sacramental mass on the 16th of July. I'd just like to call these boys forward and just present them with a Bible that hopefully they can take through with them as they enter along their faith journey. I might just call Mr. Corboard forward to help hand these out. So the first boy is Jaquil Cobb. Jaquil might like to come forward, thanks. So Bishop Michael was presiding over these sacraments and Jaquil was baptised and received all these sacraments. So well done, Jaquil. Noah Sleeman, you'd like to come forward, thank you. Noah had been baptised and he received the other sacraments of initiation. Well done, Noah. Denzel Summers, you'd like to come forward, Denzel. Denzel was baptised along with Jaquil. Denzel may not be here today, so we'll hold that over. And finally, Logan Young. We might just call Logan Young forward. Had been baptised and received confirmation, so Logan just received the Eucharist. Well done, gentlemen, and thank you. You can take a seat, boys. Well done, thanks. Just before dismissals, I'm just going to quickly go through the process. Now, I realise that with the mobile phone policy amendments, that means that when you go to the tuck shop or go to the canteen, the mobile phone payment is not an option for you. Now, being down there every morning tea, I see most boys are either paying cash or card. But I just wanted to point out the option that the student ID is a really easy and functional way in which you can pay for your food. I'm going to go through now just in a series of slides and just explain to you, although Mr. Cooper did send home an email to yourselves and your parents around that process, I'll just quickly take you through what you need to do in order to top up and set up your account. So the first slide will show what the app looks like on either the Android or either through Apple. That's the app we're looking for. So once you type in Flexi Schools, you download the app. Next slide brings you to a login page. Obviously, I had logged in before, so I didn't need to set an account up. But once you've logged in, next slide, this is what you'll see. This is the home page. Now, I've circled down the bottom right, you can see there's a wallet option. When you select that wallet option, next slide, it'll take you to an opportunity to top up your account. Notice below the FLX accounts, you can, and I haven't done this, but you can just click those red tabs below and you can order a Flexi Schools debit card so that if you don't have your student ID, or even if you do, you can have an additional card that can access these funds. In my case, I was just topping up Nate's account, so his card's there, hit top up, next slide. You nominate the amount, okay? So in my situation, I've just put on for him how much he's got for the fortnight until I get paid next. So if he spends it early, he doesn't eat. So that's how we roll. No, this is just an example. I give him 100. So we select your payment. Now, for me, I've got my PayPal set up. There's 2 options to pay. You can pay with PayPal or you can pay with a credit card or a debit card. So this is something that your parents only have to do on occasion. You don't have to top your account up every day. Now, once you've selected the amount in which you're going to give your child or give yourselves if you've got a debit card, there is a small fee. There is a small administration fee. Just be mindful of that. I think it's 1%. You press next and happy days. I think that just about pulls you up your account. Just go next slide, please. Oh, that is the last slide. Once that's done, We might go back to the second slide if we can, just the homepage of the app. Important to note that to the right of the wallet, there is the profile. Now, if you click on your profile, you can go in, or your parents may go in and set a daily limit, just so you don't spend all that money in one day. So if you go to the canteen, the tuck shop lady may ask you, do you want to know what your balance is? Okay, the balance they will give you is the remaining balance that you have for that day. Okay, so it's not the balance of your overall account, it's how much you've got left that day. Now, you do not have to set yourself up with a daily limit, but that is a function there if you so choose. Now, your ID cards that you were issued at the start of the year, they all work. There is a barcode reader at every terminal in the canteen, and all you need to do is just hold your barcode there from your ID, and it will connect to your Flexi Schools account. Super simple once it's set up. From my perspective as a parent, probably the easier way to manage tuck shop. If you lose your card, the school has the ability to print you a new ID card. So in the event maybe you've lost your ID card and you think this might be an option for you, go have a chat to Mr. Cooper, have a chat to Mr. Gill, and they'll talk you through the process of what you need to do in order to print your new ID card, which we can do on site here at the college. If there's any questions around the Flexi School process, I'd encourage you to come and see myself, see Mr. Cooper, see Mr. Gill, so we can get you sorted. Thanks, gentlemen. I'll just call Mr. Cooper forward now for dismissals.
Thanks, Mr. Pearce. Just listening quickly, please, boys. Can I see these students, please? Kane Laundry, Cree Sullivan, Harrison Hill, Pat Elliott, and Charlie Willis. And can Cooper Stackpool, can you please see Mr. Gill? Just a reminder too, boys, obviously with the mobile phones, it's great to see the vast majority of boys are doing the right thing. Just a reminder that your bags are not allowed in the toilet, okay? So do not take your bags into the toilet. Now, what I can tell you, talking to some of the parents who gave me a phone call yesterday, they're quite really happy with the rules, and I guess one of the biggest pushes for this came from the parent body. I know that when they did this survey across Queensland regarding EQ schools, 97% of parents who participated in that survey, were in favour of a complete ban of mobile phones. Okay? But speaking to a parent yesterday on the phone over a couple of things, they said that they believed that some boys were still using Snapchat in the toilets. That's not a good idea. So, boys, you run that risk. Okay? Those boys that think it's okay to carry their phone around and going to take them into the toilets, my advice is do not do that. Okay, can I please see those boys who I called out before, and can I ask the staff who are teaching in period 2 to stand and head off?
Gentlemen, just before we move off, just listen please. I had set, in relation to Flexi Schools, I had set the account up, and Mr. Gill just reminded me of the most important step. When you set your Flexi account up, super simple to do, but when you've set that account up, that doesn't talk to your student ID. There is a step there that you need to follow. So when you set that student ID up, what you need to do, you have a Flexi account set up, it will ask you to link your card. Now at the bottom of your barcode on your student ID, there is a number. And when you type that number in, that will link your card to your account. You only have to do it the one time when you initially set the account, but don't forget that important step. Thanks.
Okay, Year 12s, can you please stand, head off to period 2? Thanks, mate.